Hi, I'm Maria. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. Growing up with my sister Emma was always a competition. 3 years older, she had to be first, best, and most important in everything. Our childhood was a constant battle, but I thought we'd outgrown it when we both started families. I couldn't have been more wrong. Maria, we haven't seen you guys in forever. You should bring Sophie over this weekend. Emma's voice chirped through my phone one Tuesday morning. Tyler and Lily have been asking about their little cousin. Really? That would be great, I replied, genuinely surprised. Emma rarely invited us over. Sophie's been cooped up with this cold weather. She'd love to see her cousins. Perfect. Saturday around noon? Ben's making his famous chili. I hung up feeling hopeful. Maybe Emma was finally warming up to the idea of our daughters being close, despite the age gap. My Sophie was only 4, while Emma's twins, Tyler and Lily, were 15. Mommy, are we really going to see Aunt Emma? Sophie bounced on her toes when I told her. Yes, sweetie, and Tyler and Lily too. Yay! Do you think they'll play with me this time? The question made my heart sink. The last few visits, the twins had ignored Sophie completely, too engrossed in their phones to acknowledge their little cousin. I'm sure they will, honey, I lied. Saturday arrived with unexpected snowfall. I bundled Sophie in her warmest clothes and packed extra activities in case the teenagers were still not interested. There they are. Emma opened the door with a plastered smile. Come in, it's freezing out there. Ben, Emma's husband, greeted us from the kitchen. Hey, kiddo, he called to Sophie, who shyly waved back. Ben was always nice, but completely under Emma's thumb. He never contradicted her, even when she was clearly wrong. The kids are in the den, Emma directed, taking our coats. Sophie can join them. Where's your mom? I heard Lily ask as Sophie approached them cautiously. She's talking to Aunt Emma, my daughter replied in her small voice. Great, we're stuck babysitting, Tyler muttered, not bothering to lower his phone. We are not babysitting, Lily corrected. Mom said we just have to keep her occupied. I pretended not to hear as I circled back to the kitchen where Emma was directing Ben on how to properly stir the chili. Ben, you're doing it all wrong, she scolded. I told you to add the beans last. Sorry, Em, he mumbled, looking defeated. So, Maria? Emma turned to me. How's the job hunt going? It's actually going really well. I have a second interview at the marketing firm next week. Emma's smile tightened. That's nice, though I'm surprised they'd consider someone who's been out of the workforce for 4 years. I've been freelancing, I reminded her, and keeping my skills current. Right, your little projects. Well, good luck with that. The conversation continued this way through lunch, Emma subtly undermining everything from my parenting to my career choices. When Sophie accidentally spilled her juice, Emma's reaction was immediate. Oh dear, she sighed dramatically. Tyler, get the paper towels. This is why I always use the plastic cups when children visit. I'm sorry, Sophie whispered, her eyes filling with tears. It's okay, sweetie, I reassured her. Accidents happen. Yes, they do, Emma agreed with a pointed look, especially with certain children. After lunch, Sophie asked if she could play outside in the snow. The twins can watch her, Emma suggested. You and I need to catch up. I hesitated. Are you guys okay with that? I asked Tyler and Lily. Whatever, Tyler shrugged. We'll watch her, Lily added, not looking up from her phone. I helped Sophie into her snow gear, making sure she was bundled up against the cold. Stay where your cousins can see you, I instructed. And come inside if you get too cold. I will, Mommy, she promised. For the next hour, Emma dominated the conversation, talking about her promotion, the twins' accomplishments, and their upcoming vacation to Europe. Occasionally, I glanced out the window to check on Sophie, who appeared to be building a snowman while the twins sat on the porch, engrossed in their devices. I should probably check on Sophie, I said during a pause in Emma's monologue about her new car. She's fine, Emma waved dismissively. The kids are watching her. Another 30 minutes passed before I noticed I couldn't see Sophie anymore. I don't see Sophie out there, I interrupted Emma's story about her boss's divorce. She sighed. Maria, you're being overprotective. The kids are responsible. I just want to check, I insisted, moving toward the back door. Outside, I found Tyler and Lily alone on the porch, no Sophie in sight. Where's Sophie? I asked, panic rising in my chest. Playing, I guess, Tyler answered without looking up. You guess? You're supposed to be watching her. Chill, Aunt Maria. She's around here somewhere, Lily muttered. I called Sophie's name repeatedly, my voice growing more frantic with each unanswered call. Emma finally joined me, looking annoyed. Maria, you're overreacting. She's probably just hiding. Tyler, Lily, where did Sophie go? I demanded, ignoring Emma. The twins exchanged a glance that made my blood run cold. What? I pressed. Where is she? She was being annoying, Tyler finally admitted. She kept throwing snow at us and wanting to play stupid games. So? I prompted, my voice shaking. So we told her we'd play hide and seek, Lily continued, avoiding my gaze. We said she should hide in the shed and we'd come find her. The shed? It's freezing out here. How long ago was this? They shrugged in unison. I don't know. Maybe 2 hours ago? Tyler estimated. I ran toward the small garden shed at the back of the property, Emma trailing behind me. Maria, I'm sure she's fine. The kids were just playing, Emma called. The shed door was secured with a padlock. Did you lock this? I shouted at the twins who had reluctantly followed. It was just a joke, Lily mumbled. Give me the key, now! Tyler produced a key from his pocket, and I fumbled to unlock the padlock with trembling hands. Inside the dark, freezing shed, I found Sophie huddled in a corner, shivering violently, her face streaked with frozen tears. Mommy! She cried as I scooped her up. I was calling and calling, but nobody came. I've got you, baby. I've got you, I whispered, checking her for signs of hypothermia. Back in the house, I wrapped Sophie in blankets and held her close as she continued to shiver. Her lips are blue, I told Emma. I'm taking her to the emergency room. Don't be dramatic, Maria, Emma scoffed. She's fine. Kids are resilient. Dramatic? Your children locked my 4-year-old in a freezing shed for 2 hours and you think I'm being dramatic? They were just playing, Emma insisted. They didn't mean any harm. Didn't mean any harm? Look at her. I gestured to Sophie, who was still trembling in my arms. It was just a prank, Tyler defended. A prank? She could have frozen to death. Now you're really exaggerating. Emma rolled her eyes. It's not that cold. It's below freezing, Emma, and she's 4 years old. Well, maybe if you hadn't spoiled her so much, she wouldn't be so sensitive. Emma crossed her arms. That was the moment something snapped inside me. The years of competition, of Emma's subtle and not-so-subtle put-downs, of her constant need to make me feel less than all of it crystallized into a cold, hard resolve. We're leaving, I stated, gathering Sophie's things. And don't expect to see us again. Don't be ridiculous, Emma laughed. You always overreact. I stopped at the door. This isn't an overreaction, Emma. This is me finally seeing you for who you really are. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed Sophie had mild hypothermia and needed to be monitored. When he asked how it happened, I told him the truth. Your niece and nephew locked her in an unheated shed for 2 hours? He clarified, frowning. And your sister knew about this? She didn't stop it, and when I found Sophie, she called me dramatic for being concerned. Miss Rivera, I'm required by law to report this as a case of child endangerment, he informed me. I understand, I replied, surprising myself with how calm I felt. The following weeks were a whirlwind. Child Protective Services interviewed Sophie, me, Emma, Ben, and the twins. Emma was furious, calling me constantly to berate me for making a mountain out of a molehill and trying to get her kids taken away. This isn't about your kids, Emma, I told her during one such call. This is about my daughter, who could have been seriously hurt because of your negligence. My negligence? I wasn't even out there. Exactly. You weren't watching them. And when you found out what they did, You defended them instead of making sure Sophie was okay. They're teenagers, Maria. They make mistakes. And parents are supposed to hold them accountable for those mistakes, not excuse them. The case resulted in the twins being required to attend counseling and complete community service. Emma and Ben were ordered to take parenting classes. The humiliation was evident in Emma's social media posts, which suddenly stopped featuring her perfect family and became sparse. But I wasn't done. I scheduled a meeting with the principal of the twins' high school. "Mrs. Chen," I said, sitting across from her desk, "I'm concerned about my niece and nephew's behavior toward younger children." "Miss Rivera, I appreciate your concern, but family matters." "This isn't just a family matter," I interrupted, sliding a folder across the desk. "These are the hospital records showing my daughter was treated for hypothermia after my niece and nephew locked her in a shed in freezing temperatures. There's also a copy of the CPS report." Her expression changed as she reviewed the documents. "I had no idea. This is very serious." "Yes, it is. And I'm concerned that if they would do this to family, they might be bullying other children at school." The conversation led to the twins being monitored more closely at school. When it was discovered they were indeed bullying younger students, they were suspended and required to participate in the school's anti-bullying program. A month later, Emma showed up at my door unannounced. "Can we talk?" she asked, her usually perfect appearance noticeably disheveled. "About what?" "About everything that's happened. The kids are miserable. Ben and I are fighting constantly. My friends are asking questions I don't want to answer. This has gone too far." "Too far?" "Emma, your children could have seriously harmed my daughter, and you didn't care." "I didn't think it was that serious at the time," she protested. "And that's the problem. You never think anything is serious unless it affects you directly." "I'm trying to apologize, Maria." "No, you're trying to make this go away because it's inconvenient for you. There's a difference." "What do you want from me?" she demanded. "I've said I'm sorry." "I don't want anything from you, Emma. Not anymore." The consequences continued to unfold. Emma's carefully cultivated image in our community crumbled as the story spread. Her parenting blog, which had been gaining traction, lost sponsors and followers. The twins' applications to prestigious summer programs were rejected. 6 months later, I ran into Ben at the grocery store. He looked tired but oddly relieved. "Maria," he greeted me cautiously. "How's Sophie?" "She's good. Still hesitant around older kids, but we're working through it." "I'm glad," he nodded. "And I'm sorry. I should have stepped in that day." "Yes, you should have." "Emma and I are separated," he admitted. "After everything that happened, I started seeing things differently. The way she treated you, the way she made excuses for the kids. I realized I'd been enabling it for years." "I'm sorry to hear that, Ben." "Don't be. It needed to happen." He paused. "The kids are different too, especially Lily. She's been asking to apologize to Sophie." "I'm not ready for that, and neither is Sophie." "I understand. Just know that we're not all like Emma. Some of us can learn from our mistakes." I nodded but made no promises. Emma's final attempt at reconciliation came during our mother's birthday dinner. She cornered me in the kitchen, her voice low and urgent. "This has gone on long enough, Maria. Mom's upset that we're still fighting. Can't we just move past this?" "Move past what exactly? The fact that your children endangered my daughter? Or the fact that you called me dramatic for being concerned? Both, I guess." "Look, I know I messed up." "No, Emma, you don't get to decide when this is over. You don't get to wash your hands of it because it's inconvenient for you. Some things can't be fixed with an apology." "So that's it? You're just cutting me out of your life forever?" "I'm protecting my daughter from people who demonstrated they don't care about her well-being. If that means cutting you out, then yes, that's what I'm doing." I walked away, feeling lighter than I had in months. The weight of always trying to please Emma, of seeking her approval, of making excuses for her behavior, it was gone. A year later, my life had transformed. The marketing job had turned into a promotion. Sophie was thriving in kindergarten. We had built a new circle of friends who valued and respected us. Emma's life had taken a different turn. Her divorce from Ben was finalized. Tyler had been caught shoplifting and was on probation. Lily had moved in with Ben, wanting distance from her mother's increasingly controlling behavior. Emma's carefully constructed facade had crumbled, revealing the chaos she had always tried to hide. Sometimes when Sophie asks about her aunt and cousins, I'm honest in an age-appropriate way. Sometimes people show us who they really are, I tell her. And when they show us they don't care about our feelings or our safety, we don't have to keep them in our lives. Even if they're family? She asks. Even if they're family, I confirm. Real family protects each other. Real family doesn't lock you in a shed and call it a joke. Last week, I saw Emma at the supermarket. She looked older, tired. Our eyes met briefly before she turned away, unable to hold my gaze. There was a time when I would have felt guilty, when I would have questioned whether I had been too harsh. But not anymore. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't about getting even. It's about walking away and building a life so good that those who hurt you can see exactly what they lost. For me, that meant creating a safe, loving environment for Sophie, where she would never again question her worth or her safety. So what would you have done? In my situation? Would you have accepted Emma's apology? Or do you think some actions are truly unforgivable when it comes to protecting your child?